Welcome to Inheritance, Variation, Evolution, GCSE exam questions. So these are questions taken from exams that we're going to go through. So we'll start with this one. Farmers selectively breed chickens to produce larger chickens. Figure 9 shows how the size of chickens has changed over time. So small, medium and large. So the original chickens, like the wild chickens, were actually quite small, or smaller than ones we tend to sort of eat or keep today. Explain how farmers have used selective breeding to produce larger chickens. So selective breeding isn't genetic engineering. You're not doing anything like with a microscope and in a lab. Selective breeding is, so farmers, So farmers chose chickens with the desired characteristics. So in this case, it's size, isn't it? Large chickens in this case to breed together the offspring, so the chicks, were then selected again, size, and the sort of larger gene was passed on through the generations. So it's a bit like, well, it's very similar to, actually, not even just a bit like. So certain dog breeds are selected for certain characteristics. So example, to have more fur. So they choose puppies like with the most fur to breed with. So it could be any desired characteristics. You could get you want a dog breed to look a certain way. You could get like the chicken size. You get, so it's not to do with selection in the laboratory. It's more like you choose and put the two larger chickens together, obviously, so that they'll breed. Okay, and you sort of discard or don't allow the other ones to breed with each other, so separate the males and females thing. So you actually get selectively bigger chickens over time. It takes a few generations for them to get bigger. So this can happen in the wild, can't it? Okay, but certain characteristics are selected for. So you probably know about the giraffe, about that why they've got longer necks was sort of, it was natural selective breeding. It was obviously the giraffes with longer necks could reach more food, and so they passed their longer neck genes onto the next generation. Okay, so yeah, but so each generation of chickens here would be bigger than the previous generation. Okay, up to a certain point. So describe one benefit and one risk of selectively breeding chickens. One benefit. So obviously for the desired characteristic. So select for the desired characteristic. So what you want them to look like or act like, since it's behavioral. Okay, to be more common. So you're still probably going to get some chickens that are smaller. Okay, risk. Okay, so you could have genetic diseases. So higher risk of genetic diseases. So you might know, yeah, again, with dogs, this is a common thing. Okay, it can occur any animals. Okay, where actually if the gene pool is too small, if they keep breeding from a small set of animals, then actually if one's got a genetic defect, genetic disease, it can pass it on. Okay, because if there's a wider genetic inheritance, wider genetic pool, you're actually less likely to get these genetic diseases. So that's actually why that when animals kind of are allowed naturally to select, actually diseases will become less common than usually human bred. But they happen in plants as well. Okay, so bananas, that sounds a funny thing, but they're at risk of extinction because they've been selectively bred and they're at risk of certain diseases now. So it can happen in plants too, okay, this sort of thing. So risk of genetic diseases. Yeah, and another one, and risk of all birds in this case, but it could be any animal, being genetically similar. So that makes them prone to diseases. Well, like I was saying about the banana, it's that they're actually, because they're all genetically similar, they're all similar immune systems. Yeah, plants have immune systems as well. Then if you get a disease that affects one of them, it's probably going to affect all of them. Okay, it might wipe them out. So sometimes animals in plants go extinct because they're all too genetically similar. Okay, when they're genetically different, okay, then actually that you actually got a better immune system usually. Okay, the body cells of chickens have 78 chromosomes in their nuclei. So state the number of chromosomes found in each sex cell of a chicken. So if the body cell, okay, has 78, then a sex cell, would have half of that. So if you remember the gametes, so the sperm and egg cells, so chickens also have sperm and egg cells, they would be half of that. So a sex cell, so as a gamete, (78), right, divided by 2 is 39. Okay, so a full lot of body cells, a full number of chromosomes of body cells is called a diploid. So same in humans as well. And the number in a sex cell, so a sperm is called haploid, so half. It sounds like HA, but the half bit in it. So name the type of cell division which produces sex cells. So mitosis produces normal body cells, and meiosis produces the gametes. So it's meiosis. Which is the correct definition of a genome? I've seen this asked quite a lot actually. All the cells? No. All the enzymes? No. All the genetic material from the organism? Yes, so it's a full genetic material. I've seen a question that said, what is the human genome before? So all the genetic material of a human, and if it's a genome can be of anything, even a plant. Okay, so all genetic material of an organism. A new project called the Earth Biogenome Project aims to discover the sequence of bases in the DNA for all plants and animals. State 2 benefits of discovering the sequence for all plants and animals. So 2 benefits. So there's a lot of here. Actually, quite a lot of daunting questions. There's actually quite a lot. So so we can discover which organisms are related. So this is important with plants. Okay, so which organisms are related to find new chemical substances in plants. For medicinal purposes. So, example, that if you've got a plant that can treat a specific illness, then plants that are related to it, okay, by the genome, okay, you can actually, they might also help with that similar illness, or maybe even better. Because someone's found it, so that's actually why they do genetic sequencing of lots of plants. 2 benefits, okay, so plants and animals. So to discover useful genes for genetic engineering. So, example, you might have heard something called golden rice they talk about, which has which vitamin C, is beta carotene in it. So golden rice has genes to produce vitamins from another plant. So we could produce a better organism, which actually has benefits to humans in it. Okay. So with humans, if you ask about human genome, obviously you can find genes which cause certain conditions, okay, and things like that as well. So Gregor Mendel used pea plants in plant breeding experiments. He discovered the basis of genetic inheritance. So his name can come up a few times in exam questions I've seen. He crossbred tall pea plants with short pea plants. All the offspring were tall, as shown in figure 16. The word phenotype, P-H-E-N-O, phenotype means what it looks like. Okay, so pheno means to see, okay? So phenotype. So explain why the offspring are tall. So the tall genotype, so that genetics must be dominant. Whilst the short must be recessive. So yeah, it's a good way here is to draw a diagram here, a Punnett square. So this, the short one we can say we'll do a smaller t, and tall is often actually how it is. You always use the same letter for the same allele, so the same type of gene. So their offspring, so if you've got this parent and that parent, okay, parent 1, parent 2, in case of plants, obviously you don't say male and father in terms of plants, unless the plants are male or female, but we don't know with these. Okay, T, 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 they're all going to be the same, aren't they? T, T. All right, so this is the short parent. This is the tall parent. So 100% tall phenotype, what they look like. So it'll be expressed as being tall. So in this investigation, the parent pea plants were grown in a warm, closed greenhouse. Gives 2 reasons why parent pea plants were grown in a warm, closed greenhouse. Okay, so to give one of them is to give optimal conditions. Okay, so you don't want them being affected by anything. And free of diseases, because that could affect things. And the other one about being closed, okay, is to prevent crossbreeding. Because if bee comes in, okay, that's been pollinating other pea plants, someone's garden nearby, because sort of people grow pea plants, don't they? Then they might come in and pollinate one of the flowers, which is crossbreeding, which would affect the experiment. Okay. Okay, pea plants produce different coloured peas. The allele for yellow coloured peas is capital A, so it's dominant. Okay, it does say dominant. To the allele for green coloured peas, recessive. 2 heterozygous parent plants were used in a genetic cross. Hetero means different. So they've got a dominant and a recessive. Predict using the Punnett square the percentage probability that this cross offspring will produce green coloured peas. So if they're both heterozygous, they've both got A and A. Okay, 2 heterozygous. A and A. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with the height. So AA. So this is a bit different to the height, okay? AA, you always do the capital first, so this is a convention, and then AA. Okay, right, so let's look back. So green coloured was small a. Okay, green coloured. So this is the only one that would be green. So the yellow was dominant. Okay, green. So only 1 out of 4, or 25%. So percentage, 25%. So 1 out of 4 P's produced that the offspring would be green. That's a probability. Okay, not saying it would happen, but that's a probability. Okay, that's why we say probability. Okay. Explain one advantage to pea plants. So to the pea plant, not to people, pea plants. Explain one advantage to the pea plants of using sexual reproduction to produce offspring. Okay, so some plants can clone themselves. If you think about strawberries, when they're things called runners, they're actually cloning themselves. Okay, so they produce genetic copies. So sexual reproduction, so you have 2 different plants. The sexual reproduction diversifies, so the offspring, so not clones. So the offspring are all genetically different and different to their parents. So this allows, okay, this allows the plants to be resistant. It allows certain plants, to be resistant to diseases which affects others. So more plants, or pea plants, are likely to survive. Environmental stresses, I'm going to say. And reproduce again. Okay. So this is from a different exam paper, but again, it's about pea plants, because obviously that was the first, by Gregor Mendel, that was the first genetic experiments. He actually found about genetic experiments from pea plants. You're going to see peas a lot. Pea plants actually have quite nice flowers, actually. There's a lot of pretty plants to grow in the garden. Name the type of reproduction involving flowers. So this is a different paper, but it's asking similar questions. So you often see a pattern forming with this. So reproduction for a flower, so it's male and female, so it's sexual reproduction. That word just means male, female. So even plants, okay, they've got male and female parts, or some plants can even be male or female. So it's all sexual reproduction. So what is the advantage of reproduction involving flowers? So we just talked about that. So this is why I put this question in straight after from another exam paper. It's so similar, but asking questions in a different way. So offspring identical, no, they're not clones. The variation in the offspring. So we just wrote about that. There's no first, that doesn't make sense, okay, because first all the offspring grow fast, we don't know that. There's variation. So some might be smaller, some might be bigger. Some might have resistances to certain diseases, or better in dry or wet conditions. So it depends on the environment here. The seeds produced by this pea plant can be round or wrinkled. This is another common question. The allele for round seeds is dominant to the allele for wrinkled seeds. A homozygous dominant round seeded plant was crossed with, that's a bit of a tongue twister there, was crossed with the homozygous, so 2 small r's, recessive wrinkled seeded plants. So homozygous, they've got 2 of the same genes. Complete the Punnett square to show the genotypes of the offspring. So again, it's the same type of thing. You'll see this again and again and again. Exams are R, 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 R. So it's a bit like that. It's very similar to the height thing here, isn't it? The seeds. State the percentage of offspring that produce round seeds. So let's look back. Let's make a check. Okay, round seeds is dominant. Okay, 100%. They'll all have round seeds. Which scientist discovered the basis of genetic inheritance by crossing pea plants? So we know that from the question, Gregor Mendel, don't we? Okay, so I'm going to stop the video there, but thank you for listening, and hope to see you in another video, and good luck with your exams. Thank you. Goodbye.